Okay. This was kind of a discussion that me and my buddy here, Oathkeeper, uh, thought would be worth doing for a show that I've introduced him to in recent time, Sword Art Online. Let's be
Yeah.
real, this really isn't that bad of an anime like some people make it out to be. I mean, as someone who's just recently been introduced to Sword Art Online, would you really say that people were being fair to this anime, Oathkeeper?
No, I mean, yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Because thing is, when it comes to this anime, it, I personally thought it was pretty good since the first time that I checked it out. Now, granted, yes, the second season after the original definitely ain't exactly the easiest to get through sometimes, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't say that it ruined it either.
yeah,
Cause to start, I feel like the big thing that has to just be said. I don't think Kirito is a bad protagonist. Honestly, I think he's alright as a protagonist.
yeah. I I like him as a protagonist as well.
I mean, because the thing is, people really went hard in trying to just basically claim that he was overpowered, that he was um, not only overpowered, but that he was somehow unbeatable. When in reality, he ain't. And that's been the case since the very beginning. Let's be real here.
Yeah,
I mean, to start off, we see that Kirito is someone who, off the bat, makes a pretty decent friend with Klein in SAO during the day of launch. And
yeah,
then he's having to deal with wanting to help protect Klein during when things finally take a turn for the worst. And how he just feels like he's not going to be able to protect both Klein and also any and all of his friends that joined the game with him. To where he basically ends up feeling kind of pressured to leave behind the friendship that he made off the bat there to go
yeah,
solo to start.
yeah,
And due to that, I'd say it already establishes a good amount of depth with Kirito as a protagonist. Due to the fact that, I mean, let's be real, if he really was some sort of somehow, uh, some sort of, limitless badass, he would have been able to have off the bat just shrugged at Klein being uh, someone that he had to look out for alongside his guild.
yeah,
But not only does that not happen, but Klein basically tries to shrug it off that Kirito's leaving him already in the beginning there.
Yeah.
Because clearly Klein was wanting Kirito to join up with him and his friends. And he just was doing his best to kind of not put any pressure on the guy, you know?
Yeah. Oh crap. Mhm.
However, what I think also adds on to it off the bat is how much Kirito, uh, during the time in Sword Art Online itself, he off the bat goes out of his way to try and basically take the blame from all the ex beta testers to try and
Yeah.
basically help people not just be at each other's throats when they needed to try and team up the best they could to somehow survive those 2 years. And due to
Yeah.
that, that honestly showed a good bit of depth with Kirito as a character too off the bat there, to where he literally ends up trying to get the blame aimed squarely at him versus any of the beta testers. To where chances are
Yeah.
he also actually helped protect Argo's bacon there, since she was I mean, she was probably one of the characters that, when you look more into her background in the original storyline, she's someone who went hard in trying to help people somehow survive in SAO that whole time.
Yeah.
And then, well, one of the things that I feel like people seem to forget a little too much is honestly where you start to see Kirito really struggle with guilt over what happened with Sachi and the Moonlit Black Cats.
Yeah.
Let's be real, even he should have been able to somehow magically protect them if he was somehow able to be an infinite badass. But he he literally ends up ever since that day blaming himself for the death of Sachi and the rest of that guild. And due to that,
Yeah.
I mean that alone should show you just how much Kirito really isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And the only thing that helps him even open up to anyone again was, well, the romance with Asuna. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not wrong. When it comes to the romance with Asuna, he went hard. Uh, and actually somehow opening up with Asuna after what happened all that time ago. And honestly, it is one of the best things about the first season of Sword Art Online. Of Sword Art Online in general is that heartfelt romance between Kirito and Asuna. Because while it's definitely weird as someone who overheard that apparently the light novel had a full on sex scene between Kirito and Asuna, uh, the actual rest of that story is so heartfelt with their romance that it's easily one of the best things about SAO, I'd say, with its storyline. Especially with how much you see them really click with each other down to even getting married and how much, even with some of his emotional issues, Asuna really sticks by his side quite hardcore. And you can't help but just kind of love seeing that play out the way it does.
Uh, yeah.
But genuinely, I also guess I feel like people were a bit frustrated at how Kirito somehow survived getting him mercy. He did there for everyone else's sake in that game.
Yeah.
And it's moments like that that actually gets me to really appreciate Kirito as a protagonist. Is how much he may have let people just look at him like he how do I put it? Like he was some selfish douchebag. It's kind of it's hard to not at least have some form of respect for how he was written as a protagonist there. When he didn't care if people were going to hate him, he just wanted people to somehow keep themselves together for the sake of trying to beat the game.
Yeah.
And well, then you're also seeing the trauma he was starting to deal with after SAO in the second season there. On top of how he risked his life for Asuna's sake, uh, pretty hardcore in that second season too. Because while by all means the incest subplot is easily the worst part about that second season, uh, I'll at least say that it helped the story feel a bit more down to earth.
Yeah.
Especially because of how hard Kirito just was desperate to get his wife back.
Yeah, that is true too.
And with that happening, not only did he somehow get her back, but he somehow freed who was left in the hospital over what was happening with SAO.
Yep.
So there was a lot about how Kirito really is doing everything he can to be a selfless hero, trying everything he can to just save his loved ones every damn time.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of selflessness that makes you actually appreciate how he's written as the protagonist. Sadly, the games really didn't do the best job in trying to portray that, sadly. Which is only a shame because of how much I was interested in the whole alternate timeline with SAO, and upon revisiting it, it really is hard to enjoy it like I used to.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't really care to give Asuna the respect that she had in the original timeline with everyone else.
Yeah.
But it only just continued from there, though, too, with the ways that Kirito still was dealing with at least some form of trauma as well. Because the minute that he realized that the likes of Red Eyed Zaza in the third season was a former Laughing Coffin member, it clearly triggered some hardcore trauma for the guy.
Yeah.
And it took him a while to somehow overcome that. Because also, clearly, him as well as probably anyone who had to freaking face against, especially player killers like Laughing Coffin, like clearly no one would be able to get out the other side of SAO without at least some form of trauma.
Yeah.
And and not only with that, but I also feel like also pointing out that Kirito was also not he ain't just the undefeated champion. I mean, you see that even Yuki Kono could whoop his ass in the Mother's Rosario arc.
Yeah, very much so.
Because not only did she whoop his ass, but she whooped his ass twice, whether he was using both swords or not. And, you know, that as well as also the kind of stuff that he was dealing with happening in also ordinal scale. You saw Kirito deal with quite a lot, especially up to what is the current latest SAO storyline in with the Alicization arc.
Yeah.
When it came to the Alicization arc, he really got his ass handed to him, probably the most you've seen.
Yeah. That
I'm
was
I mean, he
yeah.
basically was dealing with also the whole thing with his his memory being screwed with thanks to uh, agreeing to mess with that government project was pretty hardcore. And not
Yeah.
only that, but you know, then the friend that he somehow made with Yu-Gi-Oh and also Alice was pretty hardcore, down to how he was all kinds of emotionally freaking just wrecked the minute that Yu-Gi-Oh got killed. On top of how he became a fucking cripple for the huge majority of that last season.
Yeah.
Like, that was so gnarly to see that guy in the position of there. Especially when Asuna had to go in after him and she freaking was obviously freaking just so heartbroken for him there.
Yeah.
And same with even Sinon, who decided to go in after them as well.
Ye-
To where, I mean, Kirito clearly could get his ass handed to him. And because of that, I feel like he is far from some sort of undefeated champion who somehow is able to win every damn time. And
yeah.
after all, you even saw with Heathcliff, or, spoilers, Kayaba,
Kayaba.
who,
Yeah.
how he may have cheated, yes, but he still somehow went out of his way to fucking beat Kirito like that. And if it wasn't for that moment where practically God had mercy on Kirito and helping him survive just long enough to fucking kill Kayaba, fucking everyone would have been screwed there. You know?
Yeah. And then
In the end, it's just more. I guess it feels unfair how much some people are just such assholes to the series just because of Kirito as a character, when he really actually isn't that bad.
yeah.
I mean, from your personal experience as someone who's new from to this series, could you say that Kirito was badly handled as a protagonist?
No, I can't.
And not only that, but I mean, when it comes to the others involved in the storyline too, I mean, people were able to face off against him and whoop his ass plenty of times too. To where, yeah, he's far from someone who just somehow effortlessly wins.
yeah. Um.
And also, as someone who's new to this series, who would you say was actually your favorite character?
mm, It's still very hard to say, really.
Because to be fair, all there's so many great characters in Sao that has depth in one way or another. I mean,
Yeah.
hell, I was actually surprised that the likes of ordinal scale ended up also being a huge part of the storyline in Alicization there too, with Yuna and also the I'm trying to remember his name, the guy who uh, was friends with Yuna back in the likes of SAO.
Frick, what was his name? I know which one you're talking about, but his name escapes me.
I'm checking the wiki right now to try and see
I think it started. Yeah.
what his name was. Nachizawa Eiji,
Mm, AG, yeah.
who was also called Nautilus back in
Yeah.
SAO
SAO. Yeah,
when
he
he
was one of
was
the
he was in
in
the
the
Knights of
Knights
the
of the
Blood
Blood Oath,
Oath. Yeah,
but he was kind of like in the background, and then that's yeah,
if anything, it was kind of neat to see him go in after Kirito as well, despite how they were at each other's throats in ordinal scale.
yeah,
Like it was kind of neat to see that he freaking that he cared to do that. But I guess it's just because when it comes to anime movies, not always do you see them actually tie into the main storyline. Sometimes anime movies are just there as a side story, nothing more.
yeah,
And it's usually not a story that was actually made by the person who authored the original storyline.
yeah.
Like, for example, with Naruto, the likes of the movies in that franchise is not actually stories that were established by the manga author.
Yeah, same. I'm pretty sure it's the same with the Dragon Ball Z movies. I'm pretty sure they weren't canon.
Right. So,
Yeah,
due to how that normally is, it was actually kind of interesting to see that ordinal scale actually tied into the grand scheme of the storyline.
yeah,
Especially because I won't lie, I'm excited for this upcoming anime that's coming out with the game because I'm honestly kind of hoping that it is going to be the continuation of what happens with Kirito.
yeah,
Since, like, I mean, having revisited it to take a look at the Alicization arc with you as well, like, it got me very excited for what could end up happening next in the storyline. However,
yeah,
I won't be upset if it ends up not exactly being the original continuation that we would be kind of expecting in the storyline. Like if it ends up being if it ends up being how do I put this? If it ends up being just like a side story, I probably wouldn't be the most bummed about that. Besides, I was probably one of the few people who actually enjoyed the little side storyline with Kirito and his friends in Alfheim trying to get what's the sword from uh, Excalibur. Like the fact that it was just a side story showing them just kind of, playing the game for fun. It wasn't a bad thing to focus on, I'd say.
Um,
I mean, would you say that it was exactly a bad thing that they had it focused on something like that?
yeah, no, not really.
If anything, I kind of dig that they cared to just show them playing a game for fun.
Yeah,
If only because it's actually kind of more engaging just getting to see the characters also continue to be uh, expanded on in even just something as simple as them just playing a game for fun. Because in the end, too, when it comes to how much people love to talk up Kirito like he is overpowered, in the end, it's more about the fact that he was in the beta test, and because of that, he had access to the information to be one of the better players in SAO. And it
yeah. I
makes
mean,
total sense to me.
yeah, because like I said, at the end of the day, it was still a video game, and that's the same
Exactly.
with any. It's the same with any video game. I mean, if you grind and know where everything is, of course you're going to become overpowered a lot quicker than the other players.
I mean, after all, it's why they freaking sold all these different guides back then, too, for games.
Yeah.
I mean, they sold guides over the whole, hey, know where all the secret hiding places for the best items are. Or whatever the
Yeah.
hell.
And
And even sometimes including cheat codes.
yeah, I mean, and that really does make a difference.
I mean, if anything, it's a bit more ridiculous that it feels like people give it crap over that when I mean it's not like it's not like that isn't how it works.
Yeah.
If anything, it makes total sense that that's how it works. And if anything, it kind of feels like they wrote the SAO storyline, the universe, in a way that felt very true to video games.
Yeah.
Like, it was legitimate video game logic that you were dealing with this storyline since the beginning. And because of that, yeah, makes sense that Kirito ended up being as powerful as he is. Didn't seem like something that just was ass pulled. As much as, yeah, I mean, hey, he freaking was, I guess, one of the beta testers, and because of that, he freaking figured out how to survive as much as he did.
Yeah.
Not only does it make sense, but it to me sounds more like how do I put this? It seemed more like if anything, people in the end just were a little too unfair with him as a protagonist because he was, I think, in the end, written a lot better than people gave him credit for.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm seeing YouTube videos or reviews of SAO, and most people is just all, yeah, he's just somehow figuring out how to kick ass because he's just so cool.
Hmm.
Eh, it isn't that fucking simple, let's be real here, people. That being said, though, I will admit that it does feel more like the alternate timeline with the games is written a bit different there.
Yeah.
If only because of just how much the alternate timeline with the games. It doesn't feel like it went about doing an alternate timeline quite on the same level as the original storyline.
Yeah.
Because in that alternate timeline, you have Kirito. For example, something that I wasn't expecting upon revisiting it was how he introduced Philia to Asuna. And I was all, oh, she's my friend. Seriously, dude? When you fucking married her and you were the one that asked her to marry you that night? Come on. That that right there feels kind of shitty and not true to what you had in the original storyline. Especially because, for some reason, in this alternate storyline, they love to play on the idea of him kind of having a pseudo. What's the word I'm looking for here? A pseudo harm of all these girls liking him all at once, including Asuna. When,
Yeah.
at the very least, in the original timeline, you could see that they actually handled Asuna and Kirito being a couple a lot more seriously than the games did. I mean, from what you've seen now, you can say that it seemed like the original storyline handled Asuna and Kirito's romance a lot more seriously, right?
Yeah.
Because not only was that handled far more seriously, but I mean, you had Lisbeth confessing to Kirito, okay, yeah, I had a crush on you. And I get it. You definitely clearly have something that is gonna that is happening with Asuna, and you know what? I'm willing to respect that. I just won't deny it's gonna take me a while to get over it.
Yeah.
And you know that was pretty down to earth with Lisbeth having that reaction to that. Felt far
Yeah.
more down to earth than what you're seeing in the game's alternate timeline, where they're all practically somehow fighting over him, even though Asuna and Kirito are the only ones that actually are married. that are actually properly, truly 100% dating.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, because I'm also especially kind of surprised that in the alternate timeline, you're not seeing Suguha being given shit for being that obviously into her brother.
Yeah.
Because you would have kind of thought that, Suguha would have been given shit for it pretty hardcore there.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't even imagine Asuna not going, excuse me, I'm the one who's his fucking wife. Hello?
Yeah.
So, actually seeing that that Asuna was given respect a lot more in the original timeline is a huge part of where, yeah, I'm not as invested in the alternate timeline like I used to be.
Yeah.
But that being said, I really am excited for this upcoming game, especially because they clearly put a lot more effort into this upcoming game compared to the ones before. The games beforehand weren't given nearly as much effort, especially when this upcoming game is actually going to have a dub. That alone is like huge for this. Because also, I gotta say, I actually really like the SAO dub.
Yeah.
I think everyone involved in the dub does a pretty good job overall.
Yeah.
I mean, who would you say was your favorite uh, person in the dub?
Mm. I like for a main protagonist, Kirito actually was kind of
Well
um
handled in the dub?
yeah, very well handled. He uh his voice wasn't like that stereotypical for an anime protagonist, which like it kind of sounded more like teenage
Yeah.
like in a different if in a different way than the standard uh than a standard what you would think of in an anime dub.
Yeah.
Uh
Honestly, I feel like I mean, when it comes to like all the different terms that they throw around too, like they actually weren't really caring that people could have ended up getting into this franchise and didn't know terms, you know?
yeah.
Like the amount of terms that they threw around without caring that people were going to be lost was kind of impressive and did a lot in trying to make it feel very true to life with these kind of connections, with these kind of with these kind of characters who all clearly were portrayed like genuine gamers.
Yeah. He definitely yeah. And Kirito, yeah, like I said, it was definitely a teenage voice, but like not like in the stereotypical anime protagonist way, but kind of like a gamer nerd sort of way.
Exactly. To where it's a
But yeah,
huge part of what actually makes Kirito feel uh, pretty well executed overall.
yeah,
And not only that, but the other characters, Aegil, for a character who wasn't actually included in the storyline as much as some of the other characters, I like him.
Yeah.
And I also gotta say, I do dig Klein as well. He's probably one of the funniest characters in the whole series.
Definitely. He's definitely like, I mean, if we're talking about he kind of reminds me of Brock from Pokemon. It's
Why? Because of the weird
because how he keeps
comment.
crushing
My
all the
teriyaki and
women.
mayo pizza. My teriyaki and mayo pizza and ginger ale. It's gone. I missed
Yeah, and
it. And I'm just like, what? Because let me guess, you're gonna freaking also maybe end up bringing about a freaking rice ball and just call it a jelly filled donut.
yeah, or I was gonna say more so like how he keeps crushing on all the women because
No shit.
like how in the anime, the Pokemon anime, Brock always crushes on every Officer Jenny and Nurse Joy.
Yeah, no joke.
uh,
Because he really does seem to crush on people. But you know what, though? I would actually kind of dig seeing if he does end up with someone in the end, too. You know?
yeah, that would be nice.
Because he deserves it, too. Because
Yeah.
he is clearly a good soul, too. He just, uh, he just doesn't know the best way to approach women, clearly. Oh, this is Asuna. Hey, are you lagging out? Hi, my name's Klein. I got a job and oh jeez.
Oh no! Oh,
But
sorry. Mm.
hmm. I mean, I'm kind of wondering though with this upcoming game if it really is gonna be them adapting the original timeline more directly this way. If not
That
at
would be nice.
least, the fact that chances are your custom character is going to be a bit unique to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of wondering if we're going to end up seeing more of Cabal in this upcoming game. Because upon
Yeah.
revisiting, I didn't actually take note of him starting the Aincrad Liberation Army. Like, that was
Yeah.
something that actually kind of blindsided me upon revisiting. But,
Yeah.
hmm, I'm kind of just thinking, too, like, since Kirito and Asuna is going to be in the storyline as well as Argo as well, I'm kind of wondering if if they're gonna also include Liz, Silica, if they're also going to include Klein, if they're going to include not only Kibao as well. Well, chances are, I can't imagine they aren't going to include him when you're gonna see the beginning of the SAO storyline.
Yeah.
Like I imagine you're going to probably see that first meeting for the first floor boss directly, and maybe even get a chance to kind of speak up yourself if you want.
Yeah.
At least I imagine that's a possibility. And I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna potentially maybe even add in some of the game exclusive characters from before too, like Philia,
Yeah.
because even in the it's like a uh, it's a free to play game on mobile phones. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but in the game, you're basically able to kind of build up a team of all different types of characters from throughout the series, including even characters from the game exclusive timeline.
Yeah.
So, like, Philia is going to be available there, Straya is going to be available there, among others as well. And
Yeah.
you even had unlockable characters from Ordinal Scale at the time, since I actually played that game around the time that Ordinal Scale came out in theaters. So Yuna
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of given away for all the fans who was playing it at the time.
Yeah.
Eh, I'm just now noticing Astro's NPC, one of our guys watching right now. First and second season were good. Gun Gale was good, but I didn't like the newer stuff. Eh, I mean, the only thing that I wasn't a fan of the Alicization arc over was the focus on the AI stuff. Honestly, AI stuff really is creepy, and it's hard to not be a little bit put off by even how Kirito and Asuna has Yui as their daughter when, you know, she's
Yeah.
just an AI. Even
True.
though I kind of still have somewhat of a soft spot for Yui due to how it was kind of sweet seeing when she was introduced and how her and Kirito and Asuna bonded so much so fast to where she was basically their daughter, you know, for the reason.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the actual Alicization arc, it was really interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah. I liked
Especially,
Alicization.
especially because of how much, like, they were basically trying to play God in somehow trying to bring about AI like that.
Yeah. For the
And the whole Alicization world with the underworld was pretty interesting, to put it lightly.
yeah.
Especially with how it was this whole storyline with all these various characters basically having to somehow break free of the chain that they had, which was, however, very biblical with how it was.
Yeah.
It's more about clearly how it's very similar to what it's like with God having given us the Ten Commandments to begin with.
Yeah, the taboo index.
The Taboo Index was very clearly a reference to what would
The
be, yeah, freaking
the law,
exactly. Because the
Old
law
Testament.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
existed without God to begin with.
Hmm.
And however, it's also kind of underhandedly referencing more towards the idea of people realizing that they could actually overcome the world that they were in there.
Yeah.
Overcoming it with how how do I put it? With how basically it was a corrupt society, however, that they were living in during that time, and how
Yeah.
they had to go out of their way to actually oppose the corrupt society,
True.
even though everyone was going to think that they were the pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And it was it was genuinely interesting because it was kind of like them all realizing that they could somehow survive the minute that they realize that with God on their side, it's kind of like how with God on their side that they could actually break free of the chains that Satan established in that society.
Yeah.
Because if anything, that's kind of more how it came off to me.
Yeah.
Was that it was more about them all breaking free of such chains in society.
Yeah.
So, games. Astros NBC said games will be somewhat like that in the future, but the main issue is that people can't afford the hardware, is why games that truly change the bar will come later. Check out MGO 4.0. MGO. Metal Gear Online, you mean? Because at the very least, that's what I think of when I hear the term MGO.
Yeah.
Granted, though, that's in part because when it was still around on PS3, I did play a little bit of Metal Gear Online 2.0. Granted, though, it was also the first example of noticing them try to put microtransactions in a game that you
Yeah.
already paid for.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
because of that, it was very hard to actually enjoy MGO 2.0 for me back when I first played it.
Yeah.
That being said, though, oh, Skyrim Team Synergies Project. Huh. I'm not sure what that is, admittedly, but I mean, I know about Skyrim, but I'm not sure what he means by that, admittedly.
Mhm.
I Huh. MGO will change video games for you forever. Hmm. Well, I mean, I will say this: Metal Gear definitely changed a lot for me when I did, especially revisit it as a Christian, due to just how biblical that storyline truly was upon revisit.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I'm mainly excited for this upcoming SAO game. I'm just kind of surprised that they decided to not include a co-op mode for the upcoming game. Skyrim
Yeah.
Geo 4.0. Check it out. All right, I'll take a look at what Skyrim Geo is. Thank you for letting me know. Um, but I guess I'm just kind of a bit bummed that they didn't include a co-op for it, because despite how the past games were definitely very cheaply made, they all at least had a co-op mode, which was respectable for how cheap those games still were.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I guess I'm kind of wishing that it could have had a real co-op mode, because I'm imagining how much more engaging Echoes of Aincrad could end up being if you're not only able to establish your own custom character in the storyline, but that you'd be, playing online with others and maybe even establishing your own guild in the SAO storyline, even.
Yeah.
Which would be kind of cool, or at least I'm kind of hoping that that could be a potential thing for Echoes of Aincrad.
Yeah. That makes sense too.
Because sadly, the actual game itself really just isn't as engaging as you would have hoped for, when so much of it is just full of reused assets like crazy,
Yeah.
on top of the cheap cutscenes. Because I'll at least say this: when it comes to visual novels, uh, it tends to depend on who's the one establishing the visual novels, because some of them can be phenomenal. But oh, huh. Okay, it
Hmm?
seems like there might actually be a multiplayer for Echoes of Aincrad.
Huh.
Because it sounds like 5 floors is what it'll go to after the DLC is dropped, and multiplayer will come online on floor 3. So we may actually have a co op mode for it, which would be really cool, honestly.
Yeah.
Because the one thing that was really good about Hollow Fragment was the gameplay. The gameplay itself was actually relatively well handled for what was still kind of a cheap game. I mean, you still had the freedom of choosing what kind of sword skills you wanted to prioritize, the buffs you wanted to prioritize. You were able to still have some stuff about it that was a way of trying to establish your own character. I just wasn't a fan of them trying to make it more about you replacing Kirito rather than Kirito still legitimately being there as a character and then you being able to establish your own character with, dialogue options. Something more akin to how, at least with stuff like Persona, with all the different dialogue options you have in those games, you're able to try and establish more of your own character in those games to begin with. Whether you still also had stuff like anime and movies that established individual protagonists, to some degree at least. Because
Yeah.
definitely, especially if they were to try and do the whole dating system that was in Hollow Fragment, but to actually put in the effort for it this time, I would be even more engaged in what we could potentially get here with Echoes of Aincrad. Because if you actually were able to kind of establish your own romance, especially with certain dialogue options, I think that that could be really engaging if it was done right.
Yeah.
Especially when I thought that some of the other side characters were pretty engaging to begin with, and if they were, options in a kind of dating system, it would be very engaging, honestly. Getting to choose who you thought was the most engaging option for you. Trying to think of what else. I'm I'm kind of hoping that if hmm, I'm trying to think if they're also going to use DLC, I guess, to somehow get multiple floors like that. Um, I'm kind of hoping that perhaps they'll even do a sequel after this if this game goes as good as it hopefully will. For the sake of then getting to see more of SAO expanded on in future entries. At the very least, I think it's possible that you could get something like that. But granted, I guess that's because I actually always liked SAO a lot more than other people, it seems,
Oh,
as to why I'm so excited for this. That being said, though, there is kind of a part of me that wishes that the games could potentially have a dub patched in eventually. The past games,
yeah.
mostly when I was glad to see that they did stuff like, getting to see Yuki Kono survive her disease in the game storyline. It would be kind of
Yeah.
neat to get to see more of her in the dub that way. But that being said, though, I still haven't looked at the Gun Gale online alternative uh, story. I've heard people talk about it before, and people generally seem to talk it up as being a decent little side story to the franchise. But
Hmm.
despite that, I'm not sure that I'm in exactly a huge rush to want to check it out in comparison to uh, the two movies that they made focused on Asuna, when I'm probably going to be far more engaged in what they're gonna have for that versus this Gun Gale online alternative storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say you're more interested in yourself between those options?
Mm, Good question. I don't know. Uh,
Like, do you think that you're more engaged in wanting to see what Asuna went through there? Or would you
yeah.
rather get to see more of GGO?
Mm, mm, Asana's perspective does seem interesting,
Well,
though. Yeah. I mean, I did like GGO, but yeah.
Astros just asked, what would make it better for you, more players in the field or more of an immersive experience with NPC conversation? Uh, I mean, granted, I'm very interested in the fact that it seems like I'm going to finally get to play a more defined individual in the SAO storyline compared to how the past games just had you replacing Kirito. So
Yeah.
I think I'm mostly engaged in what we're going to get for an expansion to this storyline coming up soon.
Yeah.
But at the very least, though, coming up soon here, or hopefully at least soon to some degree, not only are we going to probably end up watching the upcoming SAO anime when it drops with the game, but in due time, we're going to probably also play some of Hollow Fragment co op for YouTube. The likes of me, Oathkeeper here, and also my friend Kira Maelstrom, who I bonded a good bit with back in high school over SAO. We actually saw the likes of Ordinal Scale when that first dropped in theaters when it was only able to be subtitled.
Yeah.
And we might even have a fourth guy joining us for the co-op gameplay. I'm just not sure. I'm kind of both excited for the idea of putting more time into unlocking more of the other sword skills, if only because in all these different skill trees, you also still get access to the likes of other buffs and debuffs. To where it probably is going to be worth it for us to put time into all the different types of weapon skills, you know?
Yeah.
Gotta say, though, something that I'm actually kind of wondering could potentially happen in the upcoming game is if they're going to try and add in a system for being a monster tamer like Silica was, to where you could end up getting your own Pina, essentially, and having buffs and debuffs that you can make use of there as well, you know?
Yeah.
Because it would at least be kind of neat if they cared to add in some monster tamer mechanics there.
Yeah. I I definitely could agree to that.
Astros is asking, how are we hoping they tie the story together for why our character would never potentially go past floor 5? Well, I'm hoping that it could be something like this character would end up getting to have a romance that he gets to enjoy in the end, too, like Kirito did. If only because I feel like it would be pretty impactful if he ends up maybe choosing to go away from the front lines for the sake of getting to, you know, spend the rest of what life he does have with who he could end up maybe, you know, marrying.
Yeah.
If only because seeing Kirito and Asuna have such a heartfelt romance really was probably one of the best things about SAO for me. And I, I, I can see that the author for the story of SAO, that he's done a decent job in trying to give you a good romance story in the first place there. So I'm imagining that it's at least a possibility that you end up getting something like that. Hmm. Huh. Eh, I guess to be fair, I could see the character Iori, because I did already see that that guy ends up having the whole time been a girl. And, well, I was seeing something kind of similar to that in the what little bit of the Asuna movie that I did watch. How clearly there, it ain't just the guys pretending to be girls. It's also the girls pretending to be guys.
Wait, you're a guy? You're not 17.
Exactly. Just being real, it was probably one of the funniest parts in the beginning there.
Yeah, it's just like, welcome to the internet.
Exactly. The internet is full of that shit. Let's be real, people. uh,
Yeah.
well, I'm probably going to end this conversation here. I might just continue to.
Yeah. Also,
I'm gonna probably potentially play some more Hollow Fragment for YouTube later on, but that's probably gonna be it actually for our conversation here. And
yeah,
thank you, Oathkeeper, for joining me here. I'm glad that
of course.
you've been enjoying this with me because really, I do think that SAO deserves a bit more credit, even if
Uh,
it isn't like it's perfect either.
but
But
yeah.
thank you to all who did watch, and God bless you all.